Right, so just a little bit of an undocumented teardown. I say undocumented because I didn't record the beginning of this because I didn't really intend to tear this down, but while I'm here, why not? So this is the AMSTRAD PPC 512 and it's a great little machine. I fitted a retro net to it and that works good, and I managed to get Procom onto floppies, so I'm kind of back to it. It was a usable machine. Just before I go any further, have a look here. It's interesting. This bay area here, obviously designed for attaching something to this interface. I think this is the modem. So if you have it with a modem, it would be normally here. Just be a bit careful when you're dismantling it. There's lots of interlocking plastic parts which seem to be trying to sort of break when you're doing it. And probably take the disk drive lid off before you take this off, because it does put a lot of pressure on it, and I did see a little crack appearing here. Be careful. So I've undone 1, 2 and 3 screws from here, nicely arrowed. I like these fuses, and you know, just sort of just gingerly having a little wibble wobble. I'm going to look at it from sideways on now just to see what's going on. There are these plastic things here I can see from the sideways angle that seem to be holding these boards together. So let's have a go at squeezing one of these in. See if it will release the bounty. Uh-oh. I may have just accidentally twitched one of these dip switches on the side. That's going to be a bit of a pain for me. Yeah, I'm kind of now not quite sure how this comes apart. Definitely it's in 2 layers, I can see that, but I was kind of thinking one layer might bring the other one up, but no. There's definitely some ribbon action going on, but I can't quite see how the two... there's an edge connector here. Whoa! Okay, so yeah, you can get that off. Just these little buggers, these are always buggers, and I couldn't find, looking for it earlier as well, my long nose pliers. So I suspect if you're going to do this, try it with long nose pliers. I'm not going to try these big beefy ones. I do have some archery forceps, so let's see if those will do the trick. Ooh. Yes, they will. There's a lot of control on these actually. These could be my new favourite tool for these little squiggly giggly plastic parts. Ribbon connectors of doom. Now Chinny was telling me that it's all a disaster, it might not work when you get back together, but I don't know, that doesn't look too taxing. There are a couple of ribbon cables, just be a bit careful of them. Yeah, they're a little bit stiff, but not too bad. So there's a 3-part ribbon cable that's an interesting one to get back in though. It's actually 3 ribbon cables, one of them splits into 2. Yeah, I can see where he had some difficulty here, and if you kind of knacker them, you're scuppered basically. I don't think you're going to get many replacements for those. Still, that's never deterred me, so I'm going to have a little wiggle, wiggle. Boy, and away it came. Big blue connector here. So you're probably wondering, why am I bothering to have a look-see under here if everything's okay? Well, the monitor had a line develop across the middle of the screen. Now, I don't think it's anything to do with this. In fact, I think I need to take the monitor out, which I probably should just loosen that ribbon cable and do that. But you know, I thought it's a good opportunity to have a look at these boards and go through and push all these chips down. Let's have a little inspection while we're here. AMSTRAD part number 40039T. Sony CXQ70116P. Let's look at these caps. These caps look pretty good. They're not particularly bulgy. Oh, my phone is ping-ponging. Let's turn that off. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing obviously wrong in that, and considering it's something from sort of like 1987, it's not bad. I like that there's a light pen port here. It says light pen, so if you need a light pen, you know where to hook it up. That's everything basically. It's quite cool to see this because I wanted to maybe rewire this so that the retro net was fitted internally. So I can see this is the serial port connection, so when it's down like that I'll be able to easily hook in wires to here and then route them up into somewhere here, behind here, where the actual phone wire, because if you remember there's you could buy this, it had the sort of phone wire in there. I could put it in there. Alternatively, I actually do have a shed load of room under this battery thing. Just mount it here actually. Make a little bracket across some of these mounting pegs. So plenty of options. There's quite a lot of space really inside this case, which is quite surprising really, and pleasant. Quite a nice machine. They do boot up pretty quickly. It's really surprising. They're definitely more than adequate for what they were trying to do at the time. This would have been a nice little little machine. I don't think you wouldn't have turned your nose up at it. So I'm just trying to see if there's a way now of flipping this over. Crikey! Right, I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing rather than just undo this, but there seems to be a RAM board here and all your drive interfaces. So you've got a lot. All these ribbon cables for the floppies are running all the way to this connector on this edge. It does look absolutely balmy. Not seeing too many interesting things. There's a couple of ROM type chips and memory chips I think on there. So if you're going to do a memory upgrade, this is probably the board that you'd have to take out and mess with. I don't think I'll be doing a memory upgrade today, so we're going to leave that put. But I do want to open up the screen, so let's keep rolling, shall we? Now that is a whole possible world of hurt there, so let's be very careful. So you've got these two copper plates. One is sandwiched over the first two ribbons and the second is sandwiched, well the last ribbon isn't actually sandwiched at all, so that's allowed to run freely. Just got to remember that when we put these all back together. That's our plate configuration. Just going to keep these screws all together. They are a couple of different sizes so far. So we'll take this kind of main board I guess and plop it onto the side. Again, just last quick look. Yeah, nothing too obvious on that one. Now when I flip this over I suspect all hell will break loose. In fact, let me just undo this battery connector. There we go, so put that shell. Well, I've destroyed a chip here. Don't know what that was. An MP9124. Probably not out of this. Let's hope. So if I can turn this over in a sensible way, I'm sincerely trying to, without breaking anything. There we go. I'm going to try to get the screen out. There he is. Because I noticed earlier the hinge was broken. I tried to put a dab of araldite on it, so it's going to need a better solution for that. And at the same time, there we go. So that's why that white ribbon cable is left relatively loose really, so it's to allow the screen to hinge around it. And you'll notice it's much thicker than the keyboard cable. So that's how you can get in. What a lovely design though. I don't know why, I quite like this. I would kind of, I would still buy a machine in this format now if I could. I like the idea of, instead of having just your laptop, how about this kind of luggable thing with a desk area? Imagine all the extra room, like your whole, literally your office on your desk. So that's the broken hinge that I tried to repair earlier, so we're going to probably have another look at that. Bear with me, I think I need to put this somewhere else right now. Put it over here, somewhere safe. Back again. Yeah, I like this machine actually. I will actively go and seek more of these. I would have another one if I could. This one's a little bit boshed, but it's not too bad. But I would quite like Quite like the 640, one of the dark ones. How about that? So if you've got one and you've got no need for it, please feel free to ping me. This was very reasonable, a very reasonable £24, which is very good. Very pleased with that. I think that's a very fair price for a lot of fun. You'll be able to play some of the old DOS games. The screen isn't amazing for games, but you know, what do you expect? Even the old monitors weren't amazing for games in CGA, so it's pretty impressive. I thought the screen was going to be a lot worse than it was, from what people sort of say, but maybe it's people who weren't around in that era. They don't know any better. So there's the broken. Phew, I thought I lost the hinge there. I'm going to keep that aside. So that's what I'm going to repair later. Just want to have a look at the screen though. So I seem to be missing one line, basically. I've got a line across the middle of the screen, and I'm just sort of looking around because often on these they're some sort of membrane type setup. This looks like quite a horrible one. Look at all these sort of bendy, twisty things here. But I'm almost wondering if you could get a backlight in there. There seems to be a lot of room on this screen. Yeah. So I might do a bit of research. I probably won't I'm going to say I probably won't dismantle it. It's very difficult for me to resist not dismantling something though. Ooh, it's not even that difficult to dismantle. Yeah. Let's go for it and risk. Hopefully we won't. Ooh, crikey, that one was very easy. We won't bust this screen up because it's going to be hard to find a replacement. Although, have a think about it. This thing has I think a CGA output. So you could probably, if you could find the panel that would fit in this screen enclosure, you could probably get a modern panel that would fit in there, and driving it's not going to be too tricky. You've got loads of room in the case on this, so you could do the conversion from CGA into whatever those panels will use, VGA or some sort of TV type standard. This is the end. My only friend, the end. Look, there's a sneaky little hidden one, that's why I couldn't get it off. It's encased in foam. So that's just, ooh, pinch myself there. Oh, there she goes. So that's really just taking you out of the main frame. The main frame. So you can see it looks like round the edge you've got that stuff. Like if you've got Game & Watch, that's the contact stuff that it's. I don't know what you call it. It's basically a foamy thing with an electrical conductor running up the middle. That's clearly what can go wrong. That stuff. So it's just sort of the screen's moved or broken contact with that. And I don't really know how replaceable it is. And there's ever a strong chance that if I lift this, I'm just trying gently, but didn't want to. If I lift that and put it back down, it might not make a good contact at all. But have a look in there. You can see there's masses of space, an absolute mass of space. If you have a spare one of these and you want to donate it to me, and I'm going to figure out how to get a backlight in there, because there's so much opportunity for that. That will be a cakewalk to add a just LED solution in there. I can't see a problem with that at all. So anyway, just to sort of let you know, the line was that way across the screen, which is a bit more disturbing really, because that seems to be something to do, you've got this ribbon here, and if you've got a ribbon and the horizontal's not coming out, that's bad news really, because I don't know how the ribbon's bonded, that might be actually soldered on in some sort of sensible way, and that's going to be the most difficult to replace. What I'm going to do is just look, run my finger across here and just massage all this a little bit, just push it down a touch at least, best I can do. Not really anything more practical than that right now, but yeah, that's a very interesting display to look at because of that solution. I'm pretty confident that yeah, a backlight solution can be had. So these metal things here then, they're very important. Try not to break them because that's why they're there, to keep an even tension across the whole screen. It might be possible, just if you're doing this yourself, to put something in there just to sort of push the screen down a little bit more. Just jam something in that bezel, bit of card, it could be anything really, and you never know, it might help it out. But I at the moment am just gonna keep getting on, get this all put back together. My mind is boggling now, thinking how we can get that backlight in there. Last one. In fact, I think there's still this one. I think I might have avoided doing it. Yes, I did avoid it. But it's done now. Great, okay. So that's that. Let's have another look at this little hinge. It's almost kind of slightly worse now that I've tried to apply resin, but then it looks like the resin hasn't stuck at all. That's the reason it fell off right almost immediately. The resin's just not bonded with the plastic. This plastic might actually adhere better with super glue. You never know. But I would probably, in the first instance, think you could super glue it, but then you'll have to put something a little bit tougher in there just to sort of reinforce it. So clean it up, if you've got one, clean it up, get super glue on there and get it just sat so it's at least it's sitting where it needs to be, and then work out how you're going to reinforce it. See, I'm looking now, I think that my earlier attempt now is making it harder because it's actually got crud in there. So yeah, don't start off with your epoxy resin. I'll work something out and then we'll put it all back together. Right, I've had a brainwave. It's a bit of a long shot, but it's probably the prettiest way of doing it, and I've never tried it, so it could work, might not. So what I'm going to do is take this, it's a pin header, and I'm not really using it as a pin header, I just want the pins out of it, but effectively what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tiny little drill and drill a hole, or two actually, in this and in the other end, of course, here. And then I'm going to feed one of those pins through the middle and glue that all in place with the metal pins. So they're going to be acting as the sort of spring in the hinge. And they're not particularly springy, but I don't think they have to be in this case. That looks like it might work. It's all a bit teeny tiny. I do apologise for the camera is going to sort of struggle to focus a little bit on this one. And I'm going to struggle getting this bit into this drill, I think I'm starting to reach the limit of what this chuck can hold, so that's very distressing. No, that went in. Phew. Right, so I do apologise for the lack of clarity of what I'm doing. So I'm going to zoom out now because you might as well just have an overview really to see me attempting to drill couple of holes in this without going through. So you've seen me use this before. Basically you crank this up and down and that drill bit turns on the end. If you've got a Dremel type thing, you might be able to do it with one of those too. So that's Ooh, almost blew away the hingey piece. Okay, so there's a bit of a scare there, but the actual drill bit just slid in the chuck. It wasn't just diving through the whole piece there. I was probably just pushing it a little bit too hard. I think patience is definitely going to be a key on this, unless you want to break the bit. A bit would be too brittle. Don't use a bit, says the pin. So let's see how that goes. Ooh, yes please. That's looking tighter. That's good. That's real good. So I can definitely get a second one in there. Hoping, you want to get these pretty vertical, so if you can't start your hole vertical because it's at an angle like that, start the hole at an angle, but swing it round, drift it. And I'm going to have to use. I'm trying to apply a force with my left hand to stop this whole thing moving. Okay, so we're getting that. We've got a little secondary hole there just started. I'll try to zoom in so you can see it right there. And then I'm going to try to drift it now vertically, which seems to have happened. Whoa! What happened? Don't break your bit. So you can see my bit's stuck in there now. It got grabbed. Ooh. That's me not clearing it. So every now and then, make sure you pull it out and you give it a good old clean. Try again. I think that's pretty good. Right. So the tricky bit now is getting some alignment, because when you push that on there, you want them to line up exactamundo. So I'm not really quite sure I'm going to do that. I'll probably just push these pins in and see if I can get them to stab it a bit. So let's get the first one in. The second one. So you can see, and I'll hold that up an angle, how good that is. Look at that. Just there. You see the pins? They're going to be really good. If you can get it all lined up, and I'm not sure I will, but I'm going to try. If I can get that all lined up in a dab of glue, that's not going anywhere. So just going to position it now over, and I'm looking at it sideways, so you can't see me, you lucky people. So that I'm trying to make an indent or a mark in the piece. Actually, I do have a mark. I have two. That's what I wanted. I'm just going to make sure I wasn't imagining those. Yeah, I think I am. I'm half imagining. Just got to see where that's lining up. Just going to make the. I should get a pen, really. That would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it? Being sensible, eh? It's too late in the night for sensible. And that one would be around about there. So I've got my two little teeny tiny holes right there. Just going to eyeball it one last time. Yeah, this outer edge one could drift out a little bit more. It's not quite. Let's try it now. Yeah, that's kind of okay. I'll just kind of show you that's kind of the alignment I'm going for. So yeah, I think we can work with that. I don't think we're going to get that perfect seamless, kind of look of if you get a very good tight bit of gluing going on, you can actually get them so it looks seamless. But I really, at this point, I don't care now. I want it to be practical, functional. I want to use this thing. If you want to really spend a lot of time, you probably can get it, do this, and then put some filler in it, mess around. You probably can get it quite seamless. Can't really see it. You can see it when it's broken because it's flopping around. Now don't do this. Put your workpiece in a vise. You've got two floppy things flopping around. It's not good. So actually, I'm just gonna hold this down so I can at least get some idea of the depth we've gone to. Yeah. So we are at, for the first hole, got probably a good 5mm and a good 5mm. So we're more than enough now. So I'm still not sure what glue, if we're going to glue this, what glue we should use. But oh, look at that! Look at that! That is so frickin' perb. That's like a seamless repair. It doesn't even really need the glue, to be honest with you. You can see there's the sort of slight look of a crack there. You could I'll put a touch of glue on it anyway, but dang, that's good. Popped a bit of araldite in it, 2-pack epoxy resin, 5-minute cure. There it is, it's in there, it'll be curing away. Not worried about that, just cracking on really. Don't want to waste time. It's pretty late, it must be 1 AM now, something like that. These look like a common screen out of something. I wonder what, you might get them on some old point of sale equipment or something if you need a spare. If you know what they're from, let me know, because I wouldn't mind a spare, especially if this one basically doesn't work when I've put it all back together. So 2 short screws, 2 long screws. I'm going to go with the shorts at the top because the bottoms have that big old hinge bit. I suspect that's where they're from. I'm not going to over crank these. Again, this plastic, 1987, so 30 years old. Alan, sugar. Alan, you did good here. I like this. I do like this a lot. It wasn't was no compact luggable, but it was all right. It's funny that look. Just develop that. Oh well. And there's that bit of foam in there to stop this rubbing off that bit of metal tang. That was a bit of an afterthought though. Come on, that's the AMSTRADness showing through. Got to expect a bit of AMSTRAD showing through. Whoa, this is quite unbalanced. Those drive bays are so heavy in that corner. When you pick it up, it's trying to tip. I suppose though this has got the secondary. Oh, look at that! There's a 5-volt regulator there. Just sitting there with its little heatsink. Some of these things you can replace with modern parts. You might get a bit of better performance out of them. Less heat, less energy being wasted. Oh, okay, lots of sharp things cutting into my hand doing that. That's fine. We flipped over. One last opportunity just to sort of run a duster in here. Seems to be a bit of funkiness all around these hinges. Hair, whatnot. Let's get that in there now. So I want to wrap the ribbon back on itself. So that's kind of... Come on. Just put my fingers underneath here. I'm just trying to grab it. It's trying to run the wrong way, basically. Yeah, that's okay. Now I know the glue and everything isn't dry, but I think with this kind of repair, I think we'll get away with it. I think we really will. Yeah. Okay. So let's push. I want to make sure our little hingey thing is under tension. Yeah, it seems to be okay. There it is, fitting back in there. Let's hope. I really hope that would work. That would be very pleasing to me to not have to think about that again. Ah! Spoke too soon. Hang on. All the innards fell out. That's fine. I caught them. Let's make sure there's no components trapped. Nope, that's all looking good. Now we did have those springy thingies to do. So the white one goes under, and then we put the copper strain relief on top, and that's that bit. I almost wonder if you can get to this. Leave the strain relief off for now. I've got a plan. So I think this is where Chinny was panicking, but actually, look, it's not a problem at all. If you don't have the strain relief on, look, you do cable 1, cable 2, cable 3. It's not a problem. Keyboard. Get that in. Nice. Secondary keyboard. It's a bit tight because it's really butted up to the first one, so I might use my tweezers on one edge. But again, like anything, just be careful with it. You don't really want to slip, especially not with razor sharp tweezers. There we go, it got in, it went down. And then you've got your final one, which is the screen. It's interesting how few connections the screen's got. It's clearly it must be an analog device there. And while we're here, let's just hook up the other bits and bobs we had lying around. Just quickly scanning around with my eyes. Where is that black one? There we go. We did that. Phew! I thought we lost one. That's for something else. Yeah, didn't we have more cables here? Think one of those was the speaker cable for sure, and that was kind of going across to elsewhere. Am I losing my mind? Phew, there he is. Crikey, that would have been embarrassing to put that all together. It's weird, I wonder what that was for even. Drive power, this could be anything. Right, and then there's one more cable which is the speaker, but I think we can put that in afterwards. Right, just going to line this up now. You've got that big old edge connector. I think we're connected. I'm going to have a look at a side angle there. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. That's real good. How did that even? That must have been tight before. Real tight. I'm gonna line this up. Excuse me if you can see my various unpleasantnesses at this time of the morning. But there we go. Just gonna hook up that battery lead. Nice. So we're all hooked up there. Now's a good time for us to put our bits of copper back in, just under the green, if you recall. Under the green. Under the green, let's go, man. Loads of room in this case, though. These wires are not tight by any means. It's quite a nice chassis if you think about it. You could have had quite a lot of things to do. I guess these weren't very popular because you didn't see many of them, did you? There wasn't, apart from the 512, and then it's 640 or whatever it was. That was it really. You can turn a 512 into a 640 apparently very easily too, so I suspect that could be a project in the very near future for me. And I suspect it's going to be on the most awkward board, so we'll probably be digging in right down to the gubbins of this one to get to it, but I think it'll be worth doing. I mean, that's quite a significant memory upgrade in those days. You're pretty much maxing out DOS at that point. 1 and 2. Let's get that screw in. Ugh. Now I think it's fair to say I'm slightly worried because I seem to have 2 of these screws, and I can't for the life of me think why I would have them, because I was pretty sure these were the 3 that remained. So I'm going to go and have a think about what I've done. Found it! You didn't... Oh! You didn't... Oh! And you didn't tell me. You didn't shout loud enough at the screen. Let's get that one in there. Let's get that one in there. It all felt like it would be a bit too wobbly. I know it's a bit of a creaky wobbly design, but that did feel a little bit, just a touch too creaky wobbly. So, good. No harm, no foul. Because to be fair to you boys and girls at home, there is a point in this video where you weren't witnessing, you didn't witness the teardown process, so I'll forgive you. But unfortunately this bit wasn't part of that. Anywho, if you remember also earlier I did nudge a bunch of dip switches, so that's going to be the real interesting part when we turn this all on, because I've kind of just remembered that, but what would have happened was I'd have forgotten about that if I hadn't gone through this whole process again now. And we'd hook it all up, and then the monitor probably wouldn't work, because the dip switch, if I recall, controls if it goes to external monitor first, if it goes to CGA, if it goes to whatever. And there's a good chance that, yeah, the internal monitor will be turned off in those modes. And that would have freaked me out. If you've got an old broken one of these, by the way, though, and you want to convert it into some sort of modern Raspberry Pi based machine, as is the trend these days, I think you're going to have a jolly good time. You've got a lot of room in here. You could pack in a hell of a lot of peripherals. Okay. Now remember I said about taking the top lid off, which is the bit down here to the right that you can't see that's sitting down. If I think it's going to put too much strain on it, I will probably abort this approach and go and just take that off properly, because I don't want to break it. But, yeah, no, there you go. That went in okay. That went in okay with a bit of wiggle. A bit of a wiggle. A little wiggle. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, yes sir. How are we doing at the back there? If there's anywhere I suspect we'd have a bit of trouble, it might best be at that back corner, because we can't see quite what's going on in there. Let's go and have a little look. See? Yeah, there's a lot of wires. Yeah. There's a lot of wires over the screw hole. They're kind of gone now, more or less. I think it's alright. It's a bit of plastic creakage going on, but let's see if that sucks it in without too much effort. Yeah, that wasn't a problem. Good. Great. Great. Smashing. Super. Great. Smashing. Super. Great. Smashing. Super. So you're going to get to witness this now. This is the actual kind of video of it coming on. And I might do another video. I think I'm going to go in and out of this machine now, because it's relatively easy to do. This is just these, 6 screws. To install internally my Wi-Fi RetroNet adapter, because I think that's going to be a bit jazzier. And a dongle sticking out, but that's fine. Let's get that on. What hair here. I think my cat, it's not human hair, it's cat hair. So this is the back, if you haven't seen it. There's the back and there's the power wire. I just think that they were a bit optimistic. I think you're going to run it on battery, so they could have left a little hole there so you wouldn't end up breaking the flap. But to be fair to them, the flap is intact, so the flap is okay. It's A-okay, but again, I'd keep an eye on that if you buy one second hand. The flap might take a bit of the old damage. Right. Ooh. Yeah, the hinge looks pretty good, but I'm going to leave this flat because it's easier for you to see at home. There's a little bit of an issue with the power, if I recall. There we go. It needs a little bit of a wibble wobble. The screen, I can certainly see it's on, but this. It's like as soon as I turned it, it went blank though. That could be those jumpers. Bugger. Yeah, it definitely comes on. And then it seems to go off. So yeah. Again, let me go check out what the jumper should be. Thank you, Internet. Yes, discovered the different settings. So now I've set it to allegedly emulate CGA. But all I'm seeing is a cursor, so maybe that wasn't the correct mode, but at least it's on something. God, that took a lot of attempts. There we go. Finally, the screen is working, and I can see that line quite clearly still. That's annoying, isn't it? Bloody annoying. I'm just going to hold it up at an angle. I'm doing some squeezing, but I don't think I don't know, it's just not having any effect. It would be nice to have it not in the plastic bezel now, actually, so if you just had it loose, you could play with it. But, you know, maybe there's the right point in time where you could just open it all out on the bench. I wonder if it's something that you could technically, if you really were keen, do on the kind of live system. Let me get some screwdriver, just see if I... Well, it seems you can certainly undo the screws. Whether or not that gets you anywhere, I don't know, but let's see. Oop. It gets you into trouble. The monitor's stuck down and I can't lift it up. Yeah. I kind of suspect, by the way, when you shut it, it does seem to slam down. I kind of think it's that slamming down that probably damages the hinge in the first place. Right. Yeah, I'm thinking no. Or maybe. Oh, no, yeah, maybe. Yeah, but you're at a very kind of dangerous thing where you've got, this is the bonded end of the ribbon, so it's a bonded ribbon. You can't really pull it too much, you're going to break it. But at least, I suppose it does give you a chance to sort of have a little feel around the components of the screen. There's our... But yeah, if you're going to do anything serious, you're going to have to take it all apart again. Damn it. So there you go. Hope that's been of some use to you. Thanks for watching. Share, like, subscribe, comment down below. Bye bye.